Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. And today's video, let's just say the commentary is probably going to be slightly more chilled out and laid back than you're used to, because I am absolutely exhausted. I've been to the Tank Museum at Bovington all day at a very, very early start in order to get there for a 10 AM video shoot. Been recording video of my 5 favourite tanks. This video was for the Tank Museum, or rather done by the Tank Museum. It's not going to appear on my YouTube channel, it will appear on the Tank Museum's YouTube channel. But don't worry, as soon as they let me know it's going up, and it should be out before Christmas, I will of course notify everybody via Facebook and Twitter. It's surprisingly tiring standing around all day waiting for people to move cameras and lights and do sound checks. I had not realised that professional video production, you know, which is different from what I do, actually took so much time. But it was a good experience because they let me get inside some of my favourite tanks. But anyway, enough of that. Enough of tanks. We're here for the warships. This is the Ghost Within. He's in the German Tier 5 battleship, the Koenig. I quite like the Koenig. I'm not entirely sure why. The guns are horribly inaccurate. Well, you know, battleship, and German battleships in particular. And, well, yeah, I really couldn't say why I like this ship. It does have strong anti-aircraft for a Tier 5. It's entirely capable of dealing with a carrier strike wing from a Tier 4 carrier, which is all he has to really worry about in this match, although there are 2 carriers on the enemy team, so it would be wise not to get separated from friendly AA support, and hope that the friendly carriers are on the ball when it comes to providing air cover with their fighters, and it does look like they are at the moment. Enemy strike wind coming in, and friendly fighters are up front ready to intercept, so that is a good sign. Another good sign, friendly destroyer up front. It's always good to know that friendly destroyers are in front of you rather than behind you. Especially if they're pink, you know, for causing team damage. I always tend to get very paranoid when there's a friendly destroyer somewhere behind me and his name's pink in the team list. Anyway, the Ghost Within has of course now been spotted by aircraft. By the way, the replay that you're about to see, a lot of the time you'll see people online type LOL. And it doesn't mean that they're actually laughing out loud, it just means that they're indicating that they found something funny or amusing. This battle really did make me laugh out loud. It doesn't happen that often when I'm just watching raw gameplay footage of a World of Warships battle. Generally speaking, I mean, there are sometimes some pants-wettingly funny moments when you're playing World of Warships or any online game. But most of the time, if you're watching a funny World of Warship video, it's funny because of the editing. It's funny because of the memes that have been overlaid, or the captioning that's been done to the video. But this is definitely one of those, oh my god, what the hell did I just see? World of Warships replays. And oh look, no big surprise there. The carrier's going for the battleship, because big, slow, stupid battleships like to sail in straight lines, don't they? Well, apparently the Ghost Within has mastered the subtle art of turning his ship from left to right every now and then. And he's managed to not only successfully avoid getting hit by any of those torpedoes, but as advertised, he's shot 3 of them down. That manoeuvring, of course, has left him low on speed, which means he could be in trouble if there's a backup wave of strike aircraft coming in. But while there are some aircraft on the radar, the immediate threat right now is that Kaiser battleship. That's the German Tier 4. His first salvo doesn't even land in the same postcode, and the Kaiser opens up, but his first salvo misses. The second one, however, very, very minor superstructure damage. Clean over penetrations there on the superstructure of his ship. He lets loose with the second salvo. Now he's got an idea of the range, and this looks a lot better. Well, it's better. It wasn't a lot better. Again, it looks like just one clean hit, which didn't do a lot of damage, a couple of over penetrations. He's still detected though. That has to mean there's a destroyer out there somewhere. The Kaiser's on the other side of the island, he can't possibly see him. Those guys are on the other side of the island, they can't possibly see him. There has to be a destroyer around somewhere. Well, shoot at what you can see, not at what you can't. like this Kuma, for example, who's obviously making a beeline for the Miyogi up front, probably attempting a torpedo run, and therefore not likely to be paying attention to the fact that he just got blown out of the water by a Koenig at point blank range for a battleship right on his flank. He did manage to get some torpedoes away, and looks like the Miyogi got away with most of it, although he has taken a fair amount of damage. There are, of course, other ships heading down that channel. They popped up momentarily there on the map, although they have now disappeared, which must mean that there's a destroyer there laying, there it is, a smoke screen. The Miyogi should be in a position to see anything coming down that channel. The second they all disappeared from the map, that tells you right away there's a destroyer out there, he's just laid smoke. So let's not get too close to the smoke screen, because smoke screens have a very nasty habit of firing torpedoes at you. And oh look, it must be German battleship day. It's the Nassau, the German tier 3, who apparently does not want to sit safe and snug inside that smoke screen, which was very generously provided for him by at least one destroyer, and instead sails right into a broadside from the Ghost Within's guns. And and there it is, it's an Iziaslav. There's the destroyer. The Nassau is showing no sign whatsoever of changing course, so since we've still got the broadside of the ship to shoot at, we're going to let the guns reload and give him the good news again. And another 10,000 damage. Again, no citadels, but lots of good solid armor-piercing penetrations, and the Nassau is still showing no signs of changing course. He's trying to ram that Miyogi, which is probably the best thing to do under the circumstances, but he's about to get denied by... Hang on a minute. That says the Miyogi was torpedoed by a Clemson. There's another enemy destroyer in that channel. Well, the Nassau just had his ram denied, which means he's now sitting dead in the water in a sitting duck. And that is the Ghost Within's second kill. So now we know there's an Iziaslav and a Clemson in that smokescreen. The problem that those two destroyers are going to have very, very soon is that with the Nassau dead, there's now nobody spotting anybody outside of the smokescreen for them. You'll note that the Ghost Within is not detected. Now that Wyoming back there is taking fire from one or both of those two destroyers, but he's only taking fire because those guys back there can see him. But they're not going to see him forever because he's sailing around the corner of the island, and so very, very soon all gunfire from that smokescreen is going to stop. Smokescreens work both ways. We can't see into them, but you can't see out of them either. So those two destroyers are going to have to wait in the smokescreen until somebody gets close enough to proximity detect them or make a break for it. They're spotted, bingo, there it is. The Iziaslav's making a break for it. He is now spotting both the Ghost Within and that Wyoming. Ghost puts a couple of shots out, doesn't go anywhere near, but there's still some fire coming from that smokescreen. That means the Clemson's still sitting in there, but that smokescreen is not going to last forever. The Iziaslav is turning and burning in an effort to avoid fire from Ghost and the Wyoming over there, and it's mostly successful. But Ghost is now moving so far over to the eastern side of the map that the Iziaslav now has the smokescreen between himself and these two battleships. So that's good news for the Iziaslav. Oh, there's an over-penetration. Well, that's a hit. Probably about 1,000 damage. The Clemson, however, is playing a very dangerous game of chicken. There go his torpedoes. The Wyoming, of course, anticipating that torpedoes were coming his direction. He's turned his nose straight towards them, and it looks like they all missed. But that Clemson is standing his ground inside that rapidly dissipating smokescreen and keeping up the high explosive fire on this Wyoming. And now, there it goes. Smokescreen's gone. So now what's the Clemson going to do? Is he going to turn and run, or is he going to come out and fight? More torpedoes in the water. The Wyoming is not going to get away with it twice. That looks like two good solid torpedo hits, and the Clemson is coming out all guns blazing. The Clemson could do it, you know. It's entirely capable of taking on two battleships just by sailing down the middle and firing torpedoes left and right. He doesn't need to fire any more torpedoes at the Wyoming because he's sinking. He's obviously burned his damage control ability to put out the fires that the Clemson had started, and there goes the second torpedo launch, but the Ghost saw it coming. He's already slowing and turning, and that was close, but it was not close enough. The Wyoming's finally succumbed to flooding damage. That's the Clemson's second kill, but he needed the third kill. He needed that second salvo of torpedoes to strike home, and they didn't, and now he's in serious trouble. And that is Ghost's third kill. That wasn't the funny moment, by the way. I mean, that was mildly amusing, but no. The funny is still to come. Don't worry, you will know it when you see it. So what's that Itziaslav going to do? Well, it looks like he's run out of his ration of brave pills, and he's beaten a hasty retreat down that channel between the two islands off to the port side. You'll note that Ghost has loaded high explosive in anticipation of having to deal with that Itziaslav if he pops out from behind that channel. And that's going to cause him a momentary spot of embarrassment, because there is something coming down that channel, but it ain't a destroyer. Jingles! Enough with the spoilers! Sorry. It's about to happen. I mean, it's not much of a spoiler. So he's got his high explosive loaded. He's going chasing destroyers. And he's about to get detected. And there it is. And oh, it's our little friend in the Kaiser again. Two German battleships, one tier 4, one tier 5. Both angled very well against each other. There goes the high explosive. Does set a fire, so that is good news, but immediately switches back over to armour piercing. So both of these ships are angled at about 45 degrees to each other, and this is looking uncomfortably like a fair fight. And we don't want to get into fair fights. We want our fights to be as unfair as possible for the enemy. One of these two players is about to get the unfair fight that he wants, and it ain't going to be Ghost. You remember that Itziaslav he had all the high explosive loaded for? Well, he's just found his ration of brave pills, and he's going to come out to back up the Kaiser. Although from a safe distance, obviously, because he's not that brave. Yep, there he is. Here they come. I thought the Kaiser was going to go for a ram here, but he's just slammed the anchors on and allowing Ghost to slide on by and taking the advantage of that to put some big old hits right into his broadside. And here comes the Itziaslav, and how much trouble is Ghost in now? At this kind of range, even Soviet torpedoes can hit you, and Ghost cannot turn to port. There's a dirty great island in the way. He'll run himself aground, he'll be a sitting duck. He has to start making a turn to starboard. But that's going to make things difficult for the Itziaslav, because if he fires his torpedoes now, there's a good chance the Kaiser behind Ghost is going to run into them. But he fires the torpedoes anyway. Now the Kaiser at least sees the torpedoes long before Ghost does, because they're friendly torpedoes, so he is... well, it's still pretty close. And he's probably cursing that destroyer, but Ghost manages to avoid all but one of those torpedoes, and then his secondaries nail the Itziaslav for his 4th kill and the Close Quarters Expert Award. There go the torpedoes. But it is not looking very good here, is it? The Kaiser's definitely got the advantage over him, and here come the torpedo bombers. 2 full squadrons of Japanese torpedo bombers. Now the Koenig does have good AA for a tier 5 battleship, but it's not that good. If it was one wave of tier 4 torpedo bombers, you could probably nail 3 of them before the survivor got the torpedoes away, and then kill the survivor before he got back to his carrier. But it's 2 full waves, and his AA guns just don't have the firepower to knock all of them out before they get the torpedoes away, so there are going to be torpedoes incoming. The Kaiser is still hot on his ass and has the advantage because he's firing into Ghost's vulnerable rear armour. The torpedoes are away, but Ghost has slowed down enough to be able to pull a tighter turn, then starts accelerating out of it. All of the torpedoes miss. Well, they miss Ghost, but they don't miss the Kaiser behind him. And just to add insult to injury, it's not even... it's not even the carrier that gets the kill. Ghost managed to get the rear gun turrets around just in time to put the killing blow into the Kaiser, score his 5th kill, secure the Kraken Unleashed award, and limp out of there on just a sliver of health. And yes, just in case it wasn't immediately apparent, that is in fact the funny that you've been waiting so patiently for. Well, it amused the hell out of me anyway. I genuinely laughed out loud when I saw this for the first time. And the enemy carriers aren't finished with Ghost, by the way. Oh no, they can't take no for an answer. They haven't lost enough planes for one day. They're going to keep coming back for more. So while they're busy refueling and rearming, Ghost is recovering some health and capturing himself a flag in the process. Oh, detected by aircraft. This time it's the American carrier. Larger squadron, so more difficult to shoot them all down before they get their torpedoes away, but Ghost is going to have a damn good go. He should be coming into range very, very soon. And his AA guns are going to start lighting them up as they come over the crest of the mountain. And... fire at will. 1, 2, dead instantly. I did tell you the Kaiser, not the Kaiser, the Koenig nearly got it wrong. Does have very good AA. Is he going to? No, he's not going to get any more before they get the torpedoes in the water. So 4 aircraft survived to launch torpedoes, but another 2 failed to make it home. And all the torpedoes missed. Battleship players, by the way, I hope you're paying attention to this. Ghost has had 21 torpedoes fired at him in the course of this match, and 1 of them has hit. Well, 6 of them have hit, but only 1 of them have hit him. Oh, they're coming back with the dive bombers, and that was slightly more successful, but they've lost even more aircraft. More torpedo bombers coming in. It looks like Emperor Tojo is going to have another go. And that does look like a slightly better launch. But only 1 of those is going to hit. So that's 25 torpedoes have been fired at him. 2 have hit. And he's going to be able to start recovering health very, very soon. So that's another failure to sink. For those of you who haven't been keeping scores, it has cost those enemy carriers between them 16 aircraft and 1 friendly battleship to not sink Ghost's Koenig. But these guys are nothing if not persistent. They've definitely got a major hard-on for Ghost's battleship here. And they're definitely subscribing to the theory that if you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it is going to stick. The Hosho obviously has to clear his name. He has brought great dishonour upon the name of the Emperor, and he's coming back for another go. He tried to fake him out with his dive bombers at first, but here come his surviving torpedo bombers, and as you can see, they're not full squadrons. He's just lost too many aircraft. He's lost another 2. How many of these are going to survive to get their torpedoes away? There's another 1 down. So there's not going to be more than 4 torpedoes. And that is a better launch, I have to admit, but it's not going to be good enough because Ghost has anticipated it and he's only eaten 1 of those torpedoes, and how many of those aircraft are going to make it home? And our survey says 1 of them. You have to admire their persistence at least. I mean, look at that. There's a friendly Hosho over there who's run out of aircraft and he's making a kamikaze ramming run on those enemy carriers, and they're just ignoring all of the enemy ships that are closing in on them. And they're still going for Ghost's Koenig. Now that's persistence. But it ain't going to pay off, because if you have a look at the scores, it's just a couple of seconds before this game is over. Ghost's team reaches 1,000 points. And that's a Kraken Unleashed and a well-deserved win for the Ghost within in the German Tier 5 battleship, the Koenig. And my commiserations to the enemy Kaiser, because he was doing well. He had it in the bag. He'd have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those pesky carriers on his own team. Oh dear. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that one, because I certainly did. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.